Hi Gretchen, I hope you watched my last video of the previous topic, which talks about the rules of comparison, because all topics are so related. Now, I want to explain the last rule of making comparison, which talks about using less and least when you want or when you show a decrease in inequalities. So you can use less in comparative structure and you can use least in superlative structure to show a decrease in inequalities. Okay? Now, or for example, you can say here, he is less calm than I. Okay? This is an example. Now, let's move to the last topic about comparison here. Um, you can see this list. This list shows some irregular comparison. Okay, or let's say, and now this list shows some irregular adjectives and adverbs. Here you have to know that these words from bad to far, when you use these words in comparative and superlative, you can't add er or est to them. Just you have to change the word in both structures. How? For example, you know that comparative means comparing between two things or two people. So when I compare between two, I can't say better, it's wrong. You have to say worse. For example, he is worse than she, for example. Okay? Now, also in superlative, you can't add est to bad. It's wrong to say baddest. It's non-standard. It's wrong. It's incorrect. So you have to use here, or you have to use, or you have to change bad into worst in superlative structure. For example, this boy is the worst one in his class. Okay, and so on. So guys, you have to study these words. You can't add er, esc, more, or most. Okay, so you have to study that. When you can change bad into worse, and you can change bad into worst in superlative. Okay, so just I want you to focus on this chart. Okay, and then I want to show you this paper here. Now look at point number 8. The weather this summer is even, yep, bad than last summer. Now here the adjective is bad, and if you refer to page 266, you can find that bad is an irregular form, right? So now let's move again to sentence number 8. The weather this summer is even bad. Now here the word bad. You know that here the sentence says, or let's say that the sentence compares between the weather this summer and weather last summer, right? So here we have comparative, not superlative. Why? Because here comparing between two. So in this case, is comparative, so you have to change bad into worse. So here bad will become worse. Okay, now let's move to statement number 9. A holiday by the sea is good than a holiday in the mountains. Now, you have here the adjective good. Some students will say, oh, of course, I will add or it will be gooder. Of course not. It's wrong to say that. So you have to go back to chart on page 266, guys, and move to the word good. Now, good in comparative will become better, in superlative will become best. Here, you know that this statement is comparative. Why? Because this sentence, or let's say in the sentence, I compared between two holidays, one by the sea and the other in the mountains, and here you have the word than. So here, good will become better. Better. Okay. Now let's move to sentence number 10. What is the far planet from the sun? It's clear that the statement shows comparing one planet to all planets, right? Here, the sentence did not compare between two planets, one planet to our planets. So, if you move to chart page 266, guys, and look at the word far. Far in comparative will become farther or further, superlative farthest or furthest. And you know that sentence number 10, it's not written in comparative structure, it's written in superlative structure. So in this case, you have to change far into farthest. Because this sentence compares this planet to all planets. Okay, now let's move to number 11 here. That is definitely the bad game of football I have ever seen. Now, if you move to the word bad in comparative, bad will become worse in superlative, worst. So here you have the word, or you have the article here, and you notice that the sentence is comparing football to all games, right? Now, so in this case, you have to use worst. Okay, guys. So this is the explanation of regular comparison. Now, I want you to move to page 267, and I want you to look at these rules. Point 8c is explained by me before, so there is no need to re-explain it. Now, I want you to move to point 8d. Now, here is an exceptional rule. You have to know that you can, or you have to use other or else in comparison. Now, for example, Rhode Island is smaller than any state in the Union. And now you can see here the word any state. Sorry, any state. Again, Rhode Island is, sorry, the image is not clear. Just wait a minute. Okay, Rhode Island is smaller than any state in the Union. Now you can see the word any here, right? If you use the word any in any structure, you have to use the word other. So Rhode Island is more than any other state. This table is bigger than any, is bigger than any other table, for example, in the room. So when you use the word any, you have to use other with it. Okay, this is standard. Look at the second example here. Stan is taller than anyone in his class. Here you have the word anyone. If you see the word anyone, you have to use else after it. So again, when you compare between two places, for example, or two things, and you use the word any here, so you have to use the word other after it, okay? But if you use the word anyone, you have to use else, okay? Let's move to rule 8e. You have to stop using something called double comparisons. Double comparisons mean using two comparison tools in the same structure. You can't use ER and more in the same sentence. You can't use EST and least or most in the same sentence. I want you to open your book page 268. Now look here. For example, you have the word funnier and more funnier. Look at I will remind you of the difference between non-standard and standard. You know, non-standard means incorrect, standard means correct. So The second movie was more funnier than the first one. It's incorrect to use more and er in the same structure. It's wrong to use that. So the correct answer that you have to cross out more and use er to the word funny. So if you use more and er in the same structure, this point called double comparison. You know that something that double comparison is non-standard. Double comparison is wrong. Now, I want you to move to the next example. Most deadliest snake. It's wrong to use most and est in the same sentence. So you have to cross one. Now, but both work, let's say. You can say the deadliest and you can say the most deadly, okay? But you can't use two comparison tools in the same sentence on the same structure. Look at the last one. Pancho is the least dullest the bear. Now, you can't use least and dull in the same sentence, so you have to cross one. Okay? So, double comparison is wrong, is incorrect to use. Now, let's move to the last rule here. Some comparisons should be clear. Sometimes you face difficulty in identifying what things or what items are being compared. So you have to make your sentence easier to understand. Look at this example. Look at this. Unclear. The climate of Arizona is drier than South Carolina. So here it's unclear what items are being compared here. Okay, so you have to correct the sentence. You have two ways. Number one, you can use the word climate again. The climate of Arizona is drier than the climate of South Carolina. Or you can use the word that. So this is the meaning of using clear comparisons. Okay, now I want you to look at exercise 5. Okay, look, for example, this exercise says now you have to correct the error in the use of modifiers. Look at the first example, exercise 5. More friendlier. It's wrong to use double comparison here, so you have to cross out more, okay? You can't use er and more in the same structure. Look at sentence number 2. The wrong answer is better. Why? Because you can't use better here. You have to change better into best. Why? Because best is used to compare one to a group. Here, 4 seasons. This sentence did not identify 2 seasons, 4 seasons. So it's superlative structure, not comparative structure. Okay? Number 3, the same thing. You have to drop more. You have to delete more because you can't use more and er in the same sentence. I want you to move to number 6, guys. Anika arrived, earlier than anyone. So here, I told you before that if you use anyone here in comparative structure, you have to use else after it. Okay? Look at number 7. Muscles in the leg are stronger than the arm. Here, the structure of the comparison here is unclear. So because of that, you have to use those in to make it clear, okay? Look at sentence 8. You used here any, so you have to use other. If the comparative structure contains any, you have to use other after it, okay? Look at number 9. I wrote Sally more often than Carlos. Here, the comparison is unclear, so you have to add I wrote to make it clear. Okay? Thank you, guys.